When you want to achieve anything, the first thing you do is to look at what other people have done in that particular line of work or endeavor. As a matter of fact, in neuro-linguistic programming, there's what is called success modeling. The idea that if you want to get an XYZ certain result, what you need to do is to go into that particular field or endeavor and fish out the best of the best who have contributed enormously in advancing that field through their achievement and try to model whatever they have done. It was the Nobel Prize winner Wole Soyinka who said that the best form of learning is to look at what other people have done. Then I'm bringing to you today the idea that if we must build African continent and the countries that we have in Africa today, we are going to look at other countries that we supposedly believe are doing the right things and achieving the result that we ourselves dream to achieve, or achieve something better than what they have achieved already. In one of the countries that I would like us to look at is Singapore. One of the reasons why it is very crucial for us is that Singapore gained their independence almost at the same time that we gain our independence in this continent of Africa, in the 1960s. As a matter of fact, my country is older than Singapore. We gained independence in 1960, and Singapore gained their independence in 1965. But today, Singapore, as it is one of the most successful countries or nation in the world. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 amongst the Singaporean. One amongst them is a millionaire in dollars. They must be doing something that we do not have access to, such information or idea. And when we take time to dissect their process of living, we may be able to decode the secret that is helping them to excel. Because there are so many things we do in this part of the world that do not allow us to excel as a people. Like I said, we have to first of all start looking at the entire continent of Africa and the things we do from a holistic perspective, rather than just linear saying it's just the government. There are some things that you and I do in these countries and this continent that in reality is dumbing us down and dragging us backward. But we don't know because obviously nobody tells us that it's bad. Everybody looks at it as something that is normal. But when you go to another country, you find out that the same thing is being frowned at or sometimes penalized. Most of you, there are things you do that you think is good. For instance, you can be in a public place in this country, Nigeria, Ghana, Burundi, Rwanda, Congo, Mali, Botswana, Egypt, Senegal, or Chad, Namibia, Uganda, and you could come out in the public and spit. Just, if you do that in Singapore, you'll be penalized at least $1,000, or you face another charge altogether. In Singapore, you don't chew gums in the public. In my country, you enter a bus or you are going along the way, you see our ladies chewing gums and making different annoying sounds from that chewing gums. And nobody tells them anything. They feel it is good. If you did the same thing in Singapore, you are going to pay a fine of $1,000 to $700. When it comes to trespassing the street, when you try to pass the street, there are some certain signboard or signposts that are being laid across the street that you don't pass anyhow. There are always places for you to pass. If you go against it and pass in the wrong path, you are going to pay a huge amount of money. In this part of the world, it's not so. As a matter of fact, I've been a victim of that. As a matter of fact, I've been a victim to that. I've been penalized at least $700. And when I told people, what came to their mind is to say that those guys are evil and they are criminals. I never thought to myself that that was the best way to do. They needed to tax me because I walked in the wrong lane. If I have not studied, I will never see that I'm the one at fault. I will always blame them. Say the government are doing evil. Why would you send these people to come and stand there and penalize me and take my 700 naira? But in other country, they don't see it as evil. They see it because they have broken the laws. We break laws in this country and this continent every single day, but we don't know nothing about it. Hence, nobody is penalizing us. And hence, when we are being penalized, we call it evil. So I'm calling on every single individual of this particular country and continent to begin to consciously start living a good life. Become a patriotic citizen that says, if this thing is wrong, I'm not going to do it. Either whether police, SARS, soldiers are looking at me or not, whether the law is following me or not, I must going to do the things according to the rule of law. And the moment we start doing this, we don't want to worry about how the system is going to turn out. It's going to be turning out amazingly to our surprise. Most of you right now, where you are today, you could go right now, we're in a public house, and you on a music, and you loud it to the highest volume, and you are distracting and disturbing everybody in the yard. And when they ask you, you say, it's my music, and I paid for this place. If you do the same thing in Singapore, you're probably going to be in prison. You see, some of the things we do, we think is correct, are things that are dragging us back. You can't live in a public yard and become a nuisance. Some people will be studying. Obviously, in this part of the world, we don't have the culture of reading. Because if we do, you can't be blowing such laudable music in the ear of one who is consistently impacting himself intellectually through reading. There are so many things that you and I do, like I say, that is highly erroneous, but we don't know about it because nobody calls attention to it. Some of you, when you walk down the street and you are thirsty, you could buy sachet water, and when you take it, you comes out in the street, or you throw it inside the gutter, or you throw it along the way. And today, while I was just coming back, I saw a guy was sitting inside the car. He took a sachet water and threw it away on the corridor, on the Highland Road. That's not even in the gutter. And I told him, how can you throw this thing on the road where you are driving, where you are walking? Prior to now, I wasn't conscious of this reality. I was able to talk to him because I've started changing my perception. Because myself was like him. The last time I had taken a sachet water to throw away that particular sachet water, I threw it away and my mind said, you throw in the wrong place. I had to go back. Though it was a little bit bush, I had to go in there and pick it and carry it in my hand to find a dustbin where I will keep it. I have to study to be conscious of this. That's why every nation that is excelling is a nation that is highly educated. A nation where you don't need nobody to tell you this is right before you do it. A nation where you don't need anybody to penalize you before you know that something is wrong. You start on your own consciously. You start to practice it. When you do something right, and I do something that is right, and everybody in the system does something that is right, this system automatically becomes right. This is how a country and a continent is built. It's not just the government. For instance, if government start paying us 2 million naira, it will not stop us from chewing gum in the public. It will not stop us from defecating in the wrong places. It will not stop us to bring a lot of noisy lies in the yard where we are living. It wouldn't stop us. But these things are in itself a very big problem to how we live and how we walk and how we experience the world in its totality. So I'm calling on every young person in the continent of Africa and every adult in the continent of Africa to say, a time is now for me to start learning and doing the right thing in this continent and not wait for anybody to say this is what must be done. Take time and ask yourself, what can I be doing? And things will be good. Because everything is buried in the foundation of our value system. If the value system of our countries and continents is not well organized, there is no way that the country will work or be organized one day. All roots revolves around the value system. A story is told, once upon a time, a young man from the United States of America went to Singapore. He did something quite wrong. And then the Singaporean Prime Minister, Lee Kuan Yew, made it a command and said that he was going to punish the young man in the public and he was going to air it on the television. And then one of the American leaders had to call him and ask that he will not do that if he's going to forgive the young man and just let him go, that he will never repeat it. Nick Wayov refused. He did punish the young man and aired it on the television. What are you doing? You are showing the people how to live in your society. He laid the young man on the table and flogged him and aired it on the television worldwide. Imagine you being treated that way. You say, no, that is evil. How can President Tinubu or President Ibrahim Traore or John Mahama or whoever president in Africa will lay me down on a table and start to flog me because I did something wrong? All of those things will revolve around seeing the person as evil person, but you will not see your own acts and attitude as evil. We need to teach our kids, we need to teach our citizens that we must follow the rules and regulations that has been devised throughout the years by our lawyers and our chief judges on how to live a good life in our society. There is nothing else we can do except following the judiciary rule in the system we are living in. And that's the only way we can become a well-refined citizens of this nation. Where are you being taxed? So many of our brothers and sisters who live abroad, if you have any, you could pick up a phone and call them and ask them, how is life over there you are living? They will tell you series of tax and series of tax and series of tax. All my life, I must be truthful, I have never paid tax except when I was in a shop. I don't pay tax. That is how you are. That is how every one of us are. So where do the government make the money to build the economy? Government makes money from taxing the people. So there are so many things that we don't want to look at that is really the main problem, but we are looking away from it. We are looking at what I call focus blindness, the government. So what are you yourself doing? I want you right now to take a time, go to Google and research on the best governments in the world and research the rules and the regulation that guides that government and try to apply it here you are without being told by anyone, and see how the system will begin to work on itself. Human being and existence is like our body. When you live a rough life, you become sick and probably die. But when you live a healthy life, you live a great life and get to old age. The way we deal with our surroundings can age that surrounding and cause us sickness, and we die. They said that cleanliness is next to godliness. It is a time for you and I to start doing the needful in this country and this continent. Go out there and say, from today, I'm not going to defecate in the wrong place. I'm not going to chewing gum in the public. I'm not going to spit in the public. I'm not going to throw any trash out there which is not in the dustbin. There are so many things I will not do again, not because I'm looking at the government and not because my friends are not doing it, just because it is wrong. And I am now a well-refined citizen of this nation. I am a patriotic citizen, and I must live according to the rules and regulations that guides my country in order to see that my country explode in the right direction. And when we do this, it's just a matter of time we will fly the flag of eagle, which we are as the people of Africa. Go ahead right now and share this video with your family and friends. And don't forget that I remain Captain Africa. Ad Astra.